Welcome to Not That Girl Anymore, part of the Liminal Network. I'm your host, Dawn Bouillion. This is more than a podcast. It's a sisterhood. We're reclaiming our voices, our worth, and our lives. One story, one truth, one brave step at a time. Hey friends, welcome back to Not That Girl Anymore. I'm your host, Dawn Bouillion, trauma therapist and coach, and the founder here of Embrace Your Brave. And I'm excited to once again have Brooke on the podcast with me. And Brooke, I have a podcast because of you. And so I really just wanted to kind of have the chance for people to get to know you, get to know kind of how we came together and what we've kind of built together at Not That Girl Anymore and Embrace Your Brave. And you are like you are the magic behind the scene that makes all the things like happen. And
Oh, thank
so,
you. Thank you. And
um,
thanks for having me back. And
yeah.
I love watching this journey unfold.
So I am just kind of curious. I mean, obviously we connected. How did we even connect? I'm trying to remember.
Wise women,
Yes. Wait,
yes.
tell us about that. I want people to know about that.
Wise Women Collective is a networking group. It was founded by Lynn Schuessler Williams, and it was started locally. And then when COVID hit, we went virtually, which took us international. And now we can't go back to
Yeah.
local. We'd be missing our people. And it's a women's group where it's not your typical networking. We actually elevate and um, amplify each other. And the way we get to know what each other does and about their businesses is through celebration and amplification. You have to
Mhm.
learn who they are in this kind of networking. It's not the
Mhm.
kind of networking where we just give our cards or you just show up and say what you do or you scan the room to see if there's anybody there for you. So it's not everybody's networking. But it
Yeah.
is the kind of networking that if you are really big into who someone is and how they show up in the world before you refer to them for business or do collaborations, then you can really get to know people.
Hmm.
One of our events, Celebration Friday, we don't even tell people what we do. We just go around the room and talk about what we are celebrating for that week and what we're calling in for the next. And that one has more collaborations than
Yeah.
any other single networking meeting we have. And we don't even tell each other what our business is.
Yeah. Oh man, because that's like the magic of it. I think is just like actually giving each other a chance to just be known and be celebrated. Like Celebration Friday, I think is one of the most amazing experiences that I've had. And the cool thing is, like for me, I was going through a divorce. I was feeling really alone and isolated. And all of a sudden I got on this Zoom call with all of these women that like for some reason I mattered to them, and like they saw me and they wanted to celebrate whatever it was that I thought was exciting. And then I got to celebrate that with them. And I found myself just looking forward to that because it's like, oh my goodness, these are my sisters across the world that I didn't even know that I had, and now I get to know them just a little bit more. And I just found that experience to be like so encouraging and like so empowering. And I can tell you, it has inspired how I do my work at Embrace Your Brave.
Hmm.
The groups that I have, the Amplify that you mentioned,
Yes.
one of the coolest things, because it's like that sense of what are you excited about? And then how do we amplify it? How do we speak life into it? How do we celebrate it? How do we encourage it and like hold it up and cheer for it or whatever? And I'm just like, we don't do that as women.
Yeah. And how do we receive that?
And yeah, and then how do we receive it?
Yeah.
Because that's probably the hardest part.
That's the art in it.
Yeah. So that is how we met. And I
Yeah.
guess somehow we connected on,
I wanted to get to know you. You stuck out, I loved your energy and who you were and how you showed up. And we did a one-on-one. We just met
yes,
up to have some fun.
yes. And I think it was at a time where I wanted more. Like I wanted to figure out what is the next step? Like you guys were giving us language to think bigger, think possibility. Like especially you, Brooke. I see you as like this visionary that like thinks so far outside of the box and outside of any boundary that it invites us into like the dream, like dreaming, and actually not just dreaming about it, but stepping into it, believing it, and just the way that you talk about the possibility, the way that you speak life into it, and the way you've spoken life into me, and helped me take you. You're the one that has like the skills behind the scene to make that shit happen. You know, you're like, okay, this is what you want to do. Let's do it. You know.
Let's make it happen. Yeah, if I can, especially if I can see it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just believe in somebody, and sometimes I can also, in addition to that, see their picture,
Mm.
see their vision, excuse me. And once I see the vision, oh my God, I can't really let go of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the sky's the limit. Um, but I can't tell you, it's one thing to think something like that for myself, but for someone else to come alongside me and say, "Hey, I see this in you.
Hmm.
I see something that maybe I'm not able to see for myself, but you can see it and help it come alive." Like that is such a gift, Brooke, and it's something that you have done for me every time we are together. Like I look forward to just getting like a little glimpse of where's Brooke today? Like
Oh,
vision today. Where's her excitement, joy, energy, whatever it is, because it's always so profound to me.
thank you. Thank you. Well, I really appreciate that. And I'm going to receive it.
Good. You
Yes.
received that.
Thank
And
you.
part of my story is, baby, I was in the smallest box possible with all of the kind of systems I grew up in and the religious systems, and like there was only this one way that you could do things, and like when I busted out of that box and I wanted to explore all the ways of healing and all the ways of expanding and thriving, and like you've just been one of those voices that has spoke that language to me.
Mm.
And so I would love to actually hear more about how you came to be that person, like the person you are today, like that um the stuff that just exudes out of you when you get, especially when you get fired up.
Right.
It's just like tell us more about that, Brooke. Like tell us more about you.
Yeah, I do have this vision. It's not normal vision. It's like they call it imagination, actually. And I'm reminded of that often. I want to take a step back and tell you what I'm talking about. I recently did this something called vibrancy signature. And I did
Mm.
it 2 years ago, but that's recent when you're 47, right? So, and in it, I had a double crystal yellow crystal. And it is a signature of your energy. This guy's been doing it for 30 years. He's done over 7,000 clients.
Mm.
And and when you know your power, nobody has, there's only 52 powers. Each power is with a color, yellow crystal, power, imagination. And no one has the same signature. Everybody's very unique.
Wow.
And when he did mine, he's like, wow, yellow crystal, you really see things. And he's like, but you see that legacy vision. So a
Mhm.
lot of what you see, you may not see you play out in your lifetime.
Oh, wow.
And it really helped me to understand that because I thought I was kind of crazy. Like I saw these things and,
Mm.
I don't know what they're not happening. Or I would work with a client, they'd happen in 5 years instead of what I thought was 6 months. And, I can see the vision. It should happen tomorrow.
Yes.
And I don't know. Because I see like that level, it is harder for me to see the small steps. I mean, I could see like putting together platforms, but not like every detail along the way.
Mm.
So anyway, back to this legacy vision thing. I have two in my patterns, and it's just really been what has inspired me the most, I think, in life. And I'm not really sure when I noticed I had it. I definitely know that when I was 17 years old, I took a random volunteer position. I don't remember why or how, with
Mm.
this 30-day home for kids who were coming off the streets. Like kids who kids who are going to go either into a foster system or to a family, but they're literally coming from the street, like from a car accident or from someone going to jail or from a fire. They've been displaced. So
Mm.
this home was only for 30 days at the latest, but usually they were only there for a few days
Okay.
until they figured out where these kids were going to go. And
Wow.
I was there, and I remember these two girls
Mm.
that came in, and they had been abused several times, several
Mm.
times. And they were
Wow.
little sisters, and they were, we're holding them in our arms, both of them.
Mm.
And mom had just went to court, and this time because it was the third father who or third boyfriend who
Mm.
had abused, she was going to jail with or something. And so here they come in. And that night when they wanted milk, I could only give them one glass of milk because, well, the government has only one glass for each kid, and this was a government-led thing. So I
Mm.
had to limit what these kids coming in off the street had to do. And
Yeah.
it was in that moment or that period, I was not there very long. I was like, this isn't right. I said, I want to have one day I want to have an island. Well, it started off with I want to have one of these. And then I
Mm.
started doing research and I'm like, I want to have an island because if you have an island, I don't have to follow the government rules. There's this thing called temporary adoption. And then on the island will be a farm. And on the farm, we're going to have a home for abused and abandoned children. And we're going to have we're going to have like 4 or 5 houses out there for spread out that people can own to make this big piece. And it just,
Mm.
like, I just saw it in the
Wow.
moment and I saw it. Well, then when I was 30, that was when I was 17. And I held on to this vision like forever. And
Yeah.
then when I was 30, I had someone say, well, instead of an island, why don't you just drop the whole island part and call it a farm and let's get started and just get started. And I was like, good, that's perfect. That's what I'll do. So then it morphed at that point, and we can continue with that story and how that continues to play out. I don't have it yet,
Yeah.
but it is unfolding in front of me closer and closer all the time. I
Yeah.
even let it go recently.
Mm.
Um, but I want to save the end of that towards for a little later because that might
Yeah.
wrap up where I am today, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So, so something about that you caught a vision, like you,
I did.
something with those little kids.
Because it wasn't right. So the next time that I remember that vision was just 2 years later. And I think about it, I was 19 and I
Mm.
had gotten myself wrapped up with a really bad guy. Well, it
Mm.
ended with plates and screws in my face, and it was just a bad guy. Okay. And the guy was on the news. He had shot a police officer, and I was coming out of surgery. Okay. I wasn't a part of that incident, by the way, at all. I never did anything illegal or bad with him. I was
Okay.
just caught up
Gotcha.
and kind of thinking I'd save him a little bit. But anyway,
Mm.
and it came across the news that he had AIDS.
Oh,
Well, I
wow.
had been with him. I'd had
Yeah.
unprotected sex with him. And
Yeah.
this was 1997,
Mm.
99, 99. Oh, I usually know that. I was trying to do the math backwards. This was in 1999. So
Yeah.
we still weren't sure at the time. The way you find out if you have AIDS or not takes 2 years. You go every 6 months and you do a test for 2 years.
Hmm.
And I remember hearing the news and I remember driving and I was driving and I'm like, I can't have my family, I can't have children, I can't have a husband, and I can't. If I have AIDS, all these things will happen.
Wow.
And I remember where I was on this road, and I was like, you know what? If I
Mm.
have AIDS, I'm going to stand up for people with AIDS. I'm going to
Mm.
talk for people with AIDS. We're going
Mm.
to find, I'm going to gather the people with AIDS. And I just had this vision a little bit about I'm
Wow.
not going to let it take me that direction. I'm going to do something powerful about it,
Wow.
impactful about it. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know where that comes from. Like, I don't know where I just turned it into that. I'm not sure where, first this thing about I don't think the government should treat them like that
Yeah.
turned into this vision
Right.
to I can't have children or a family, so I'll turn it into that vision. I don't know where I feel like it's just part of my chemical makeup.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, your advocacy, your justice, you're just like you're always kind of thinking about how to help people.
Yeah, and that the what is people are used to and what they say is right or wrong or left or right or this box or that box. I'm just always in a different box. I'm just
You're
like,
always throwing the box
what
out.
about this box? You know?
How about this? How about if we don't do what everybody else does?
That, right, right. Mm, absolutely.
Wow, I love that. You know what, Brooke? I so resonate with that. Even I'm such an advocate for just people that don't have a voice or people that have experienced abuse or people that, you know, because I guess I feel like I do have a voice right now. And I think of all the people that don't, or you think about
Mm,
the kids that don't have a voice or don't have power or don't have, and it's like, well, I'd be damned if I'm gonna sit here and just let people decide, how this is going to define their life or what these people are worth. I'll be damned.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I have the same thing for people in jobs that they don't like.
Mm,
Since I was 22, so that was 25 years ago.
yeah,
It's like we don't have to have jobs that we don't like.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I remember my mom telling me one job, well, just because you don't like it doesn't mean you leave. And I'm like, yeah, it does.
What also doesn't mean we
There
stay.
are so many things out there, but that was back when you stuck with something for a long time.
Yeah,
But but I'm like, no, people need to be able to do things they like, you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. Like, have a choice. You
Hmm.
get one life, right? You don't have to just survive it. How about live it? How about thrive in it? How about find your joy and your happiness and your freedom?
Period.
Yeah. And then how do we become part of that
Right.
world?
And I understand how we don't know because it is a system designed for us not to know because
Right.
we do have the freedom and we have plenty of magnets and bumper stickers to show us the way. They just became magnets and bumper stickers, right?
Right.
You create the world you want to see. Yay. And you're like, well, I'm not creating this. But we are. But that's a whole different topic.
Yeah, absolutely. But just like this thing inside of you that is like, I'm not settling for the status quo.
Right. And you know what, Dawn, that just came to me? I think it's the same thing. It feels like the same thing. I've never thought about this until this moment.
Okay.
That also doesn't let me stay stuck in my trauma.
Mm. Oh yeah, it's
To
taken.
my awareness, there's things I'm stuck in that I realized later that I didn't know I was stuck in. But
Sure.
I actively, aggressively work through stuff as much as possible. And I have since
Yeah.
I've known about and understood how to do that. And
Yeah.
it's because I'm like, it doesn't, I know it's like, ooh, get off me, right? And because we've got better things to go do.
Mm. Yeah.
And yeah,
And you know what I would say as a trauma therapist is let's love that little girl and bring her with you to do the
yes.
things,
Yeah,
right?
and I've done it. I've done a lot of different ways, and I didn't for a long time do that.
Yeah.
Even when, for a long time, I would just use that vivid imagination and
Hmm.
those big visions that were very real to me.
Yeah.
I would use that as my focus, and I would just just stay positive and go with the gas pedal on, like
Mhm.
100%. When I was 15, I was pregnant and I gave her up for adoption,
Mm.
um, or relinquished for adoption. I know today's terms there's a lot of people who like different terms better, but I'm old fashioned, so
Okay.
please forgive me for my terms. But and when I became pregnant, I hid her from my family, my friends, from everyone. I hid the pregnancy
Yeah.
until 2 weeks before I had her. Two
Oh,
weeks.
yeah.
Yeah, December 28th, my mom's birthday, she came downstairs and said, "We're going to figure out why you're gaining weight." She was born January 11th.
Oh my
So like
God.
literally 2 weeks. Okay.
Wow.
And but when I became pregnant and my friend at the time who I was sneaking out with, that how I got into this situation,
Yes.
um she left. She just couldn't handle it. We weren't in an argument. She just kind of disappeared.
Okay.
And so I started just turning everything into my grades. I just put my head down and I focused, and I was acing tests. And that I was in one of the hardest biology class in the whole school that everybody, you knew about this teacher like the 2 grades before, right? I aced it.
Yeah.
Um, and then I was 16 shortly after. And
Mm.
I got a job. I tried to get a job at 15 and then I got really scared they were going to find out I lied. So I didn't show up. But next door, I decided to get a job at 16 and
Mm.
I could and I was cashier at the local grocery store.
Hmm.
And I was friendly, fast, efficient.
Yeah.
I was there for a job and I wanted the most amount of hours and I used to talk to the people and get them through the line, and I would have a longer line
Yeah.
because people would be willing to wait to go through my line.
Look
And
at
I'd
you.
fly through there, and
Yeah.
talk and fly. And it's local,
Yeah.
but I turned that trauma of her of the baby
Mm.
into my studies and then into work,
Mm.
like immediately. And
Yeah.
I became a workaholic
Mm.
and a queen of denial like no other. And so while it was serving me here, I was not going through the trauma of it. And I
Right.
was like, I'm fine. It was a good decision. She has a good home. I'm like, they
Like
were
keeping
great
it up
people.
here versus down here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't feel down there anymore. And I didn't know I couldn't feel down there anymore. I don't
Wow.
know. Maybe it became younger in life when, through sexual trauma or something that I disconnected from, or it came from there. I don't really know. I was still young. So,
Yeah.
but I didn't feel it anywhere in there, right? I just pushed through and staying focused allowed me to move on and to be happy and to be in joy. And I thought I was moving through that healthy. It
Uh-huh.
wasn't that you couldn't bring it up. I talked and eventually by the time I got out of high school and went
Yeah.
to college, I would just tell everyone about her. I wasn't anything secret. So I
Yeah.
thought I was healthy about it. I
Yeah.
talk about it. I'm healthy about it. You
Right.
know? Yeah, yeah. As I held my breath, I talk
Yeah,
about it.
that's
I'm healthy
enough.
about it, but you can't feel it.
Guess we just don't have a heart. You know?
Right. Don't feel it in my stomach, don't feel it in my heart, but I swear I'm healthy. So,
Wow.
yeah,
That's how you were surviving.
it was. And it
Yeah.
served me well for as long as it did. And
Yeah.
then there was a time where it no longer served me. And that's when I'm learning a lot about a lot of life.
Yeah.
It's easy for me to get mad at myself over something
Mm.
from thinking a certain way or doing a certain thing or having a reoccurring habit. Are we seriously going through this again, folks? But but it's like that habit served us well.
Mm.
Weight gain. I've been a plus size, little size, plus size, little size. I mean, just back and forth my whole life. And
Mhm.
it served me. I've realized lately what this last weight gain's been about. And I'm like, whoa, you've really been protecting me, you
Mm.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. And it's interesting too, because it's kind of like you can't really speed up that process. It just kind of is what it is, you know? And when you see it, then you can see it. You can't force yourself to see it. And I think that's kind of some built-in protection, right? That denial can be our built-in protection until we are ready to feel it.
Well, yeah, no, that's a great point. I remember Esther Hicks. She's one of the law of attraction people out there in the world. And she said, well, you can clear everything. She goes, if you want to, you can get in there and just clear your emotions. She's like, but let me tell you, the more you clear, the quicker you need to be prepared to clear. And it's
Mm,
never ending.
mm,
And I didn't understand that until I got addicted to clearing my emotions.
mm.
As that was through my 30, late 30s and 40s and 30s
Yeah.
and 40s, I don't remember, but through there, I was constantly, whatever came up, I'd clear. And then the next one, and the next one, because we are so
Mm,
layered. And the
hmm
same thing, I could have cleared 400 times, but if I didn't clear it in this way or in this moment or in this part of my body, it's going to come up again. That doesn't
mm.
make me wrong.
Yeah.
It's just like you said, it's a part of life. It's just part of probably the process that we're able to deal with, how we're able to deal with it.
Yeah. And really, I mean, for me, until I really understood that trauma is about the disconnect,
Mm,
right?
mm,
The essence of trauma is disconnect from yourself, from your body, from your emotions, from your gut.
hmm.
And so healing is about the reconnect. It's about loving the Brooke that went through the hard shit, the little girl that
Yeah.
got pregnant at that age, that endured that abuse, that experienced that level of deep, deep pain.
Yeah, it is. And I love going through, go your inner child work and all that stuff. But
Mhm.
one thing that was different recently when I went back and visited that little girl
Mhm.
is the girl who was taken, through it. I was actually doing a qigong class. It was not an emotional teacher work. It wasn't prepared for her, but she said,
Mhm.
don't coach her. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, because I was like, I'm telling her it's okay. No, don't tell her it's okay.
Mhm.
Ask her what she needs.
There you go.
And I don't think that I've ever done any trauma work
Mhm.
from those younger ages
Yeah.
without a narrative.
Yeah.
Like I
Interesting.
went in to give a narrative, almost like what I would have called back then toxic positivity.
Mm.
Like,
Mhm.
nope, you're going to only look at this perspective
Yeah.
as this way. It was for the good. It was for the good. Repeat after me. Um, little girl,
Wow.
you are safe. You are safe.
She's like, no, I'm not. No,
And
I'm
she's like,
not.
okay.
Disconnect.
Yeah, disconnect from the crazy girl. Yeah. So now I'm telling her it's safe to be in these situations. Well, that's not healthy either.
Yeah.
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 I want to revisit something that I'm just learning about my vision because since we started there and
Yeah. Yeah.
that something that I did was I held on to my vision and allowed a lot of things to happen because of it that weren't serving me.
Interesting.
Like in my 20s, I was with a guy that we were building a business together, and there was a ton of abuse. Just narcissistic. I mean, we're talking
Yeah.
everything I hear
Yeah.
times 10.
Yeah.
And I was willing because I had a vision.
Whew. Yeah. That's when it becomes uh damaging, right?
Yes. And same with the guy with the brick in the face. I was willing to help him because I could see him clean. I didn't even know drugs at that point. I'd never heard of them, been around them. I knew of marijuana. That
Yeah.
was it. So
Yeah.
I didn't know what a heroin addict was or what that meant in my 19-year-old brain. I'd never
Yeah.
been around it in my life.
Wow.
So I just had a vision of he needs somebody to help him. He didn't have anybody. And
So what about you, Brooke?
right.
Where's
Well,
Brooke?
I've been recently kind of called out and about how I still kind of do that. And it's
Interesting.
true. It's true. Like I want to uplift women. So I hold on. And if I can, to the vision that I see for them, or they share with me, and if I see it too,
Hmm.
I can allow a lot of things to happen that may not need to happen. Or, and so I wasn't putting myself first
Right.
inside these visions. So it's kind of like that two sides to every stick. This is my gift and
Mm.
it's my issue.
I find the balance, right? Like
Yes.
just boundaries, boundaries 101.
Yes.
It's
Boundaries are hard.
when you are able to love yourself at the same time that you're loving other people,
That's a real win-win.
not loving other people at your expense, which is what I'm hearing.
Right.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't even know if I could have heard it like that
mhm.
before not too long ago. And I feel like I'm in a really, really good place
Yeah.
emotionally and mentally. But here we have another thing that just came up, right?
Absolutely. Well, and we're so conditioned in that way. We're so conditioned. And if your survival was self-abandonment in order to survive, then boundaries is like a foreign concept because you have to matter for boundaries to be
Yeah. And
things.
this is where life gets complicated too, because it's like, well, where does that ever even start from? We don't have a clue where it starts from. A lot of
Mhm.
times we can go back and self-guide us, and I was adopted at birth. And
Mm,
with well-meaning mother who breastfed me for 3 days until they came and got me, who,
mm,
was very nurturing. So I had the best of that most infants even get into the
mhm,
arms of a couple who were very nurturing.
mm.
And she sent me off because I did some regression. And I've asked her because now we know each other. She sent me
Yeah.
off with um you're gonna go you're gonna be in a great home. You're gonna go give these people a complete family. You're gonna have a great life, and this is what's best for you.
Mm,
This is what's best for you because I love you so much. And I said the same thing to my daughter.
yeah.
Because I love you so much, I'm giving you away.
Yeah.
Well, there's already some abandonment issue. There's already something there that's not
Absolutely.
something you want to pass on and something we're not recognizing.
Yeah.
Like, because I love you so much, I'm going to pass you away. And it was like, so with these well-meaning people, my job was to make people happy. That was
Mm,
not the job they gave me. That was the job I gave
mm,
myself in these messages of an infant little brain, right?
yeah.
And so do people who aren't adopted get the same messages? Yes, there are some who get the message in a different way. So I'm
Mm,
not going to say only because I'm adopted this happens. I'm saying this comes from this place when I was adopted as well, you
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, and as much as mom felt like that was the best thing for you, your heart didn't feel that, you know? It's just like,
In my regression, I've started to kind of forget it a little bit, but in that regression, I remembered like she set me on a mission, it feeling like it was very mission based.
mm,
And I remember as an infant, almost like suiting up and buckling in. And I put on my smile and said, "Here I am, world." And I went off.
wow. That
And,
makes so much sense, Brooke.
and that's where I stayed for a long time.
Because if you're on a mission, it's for everybody else. I mean, it's just, I
Good point.
mean, I'm on a mission. Uh, what about you? Like Brooke, what about, and you're just a child. I mean, you're just a
Yeah.
baby on this mission.
It's all energetic. There's no words to be able to, the brain can't formulate the actual words at that age. It's an
Yeah.
energy, you
Yeah.
know. You could tell it you hate it, but if you smile and say, I hate you, so keep
I
going, you know?
love you. This is my mission. But it's completely disconnected from you.
Yeah.
It's not authentic to you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I even in those moments, because I did a different regression for food. And I
Mm,
remember the moment that when feeling like when I was like using her for food, I
mm,
was very healthy and complete. And
mm.
as soon as I like popped off the nipple kind of thing and went into these other arms, now I needed them to get my food. And all of my um, expectations and everything I needed and wanted came from the outside of me instead of
Wow.
the inside of me. And even though my mother was technically on the outside of me, she was me. We were
Yeah.
one, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I went that deep just a couple of years, just within the last year or
Well,
two.
everything was outsourced. You were dependent on
Yes.
everything out here to get what you really needed from in here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a really interesting moment to recognize that too and say, oh, wow, I do have it on the inside of me as
Mm-hmm.
well still.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
That's deep, but that deep abandonment. I mean,
Hmm.
from the
Yeah.
get-go, you know?
Yeah. You know what's interesting about the word abandonment? I didn't even use that word or wouldn't let people use that with adoption because I
Mm,
always thought abandonment meant like left on a doorstep and no one cared. But in my case, I was left on a doorstep. No, I was left in someone's
mm.
arms and someone did care. So I
Yeah.
didn't think that was abandonment. And it wasn't until the last few years where I'm like, oh, even if the first of all, abandonment is kind of a story. I mean, I'm sorry, not story, is kind of a feeling in some ways. We all
Mhm.
have our own perspective on what abandonment really is.
Yeah.
And and even if it was a mutual agreement, there is still an abandonment that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then kind of the messages attached to that. I mean, I'm just imagining if my mom gave me up,
Hmm.
why why wasn't I good enough to keep me?
Hmm. A lot of adoptees feel that way. Um,
Really?
I don't remember ever feeling that way. I remember, well, I was a gift. My parents, my adoptive parents always said, you are a gift. Put more pressure on it, right? You're a gift. I mean, it
You're
was
a gift for
well-meaning,
everyone else.
right?
Yeah.
You're everyone else's gift.
Yes.
Um, it was well-meaning parents that, I mean, how would it served me until it didn't, because I would tell everybody, oh, we're adopted because they were like, you weren't just had, you were picked. They did all they could do to make me feel so special,
Right.
and it worked. I mean, I would tell everybody we were adopted. My brother would be like, shut up. Why do you tell everybody we're adopted? I'm like, because we were picked, you know.
You're chosen.
I mean,
Yeah.
like it worked, and then till
Yeah.
it didn't, because
Right.
there's so much around that we just start to fill in the blanks. We fill it all in on what that really means. But
Right.
it did work. So I don't really remember feeling like
Mm.
my mom did something, like my birth mom was, why didn't she keep me? But
Yeah.
I also got pregnant at 15, so I only had that long. A
Yeah.
lot of adoptees do. They want to know why. Um,
Yeah.
I just always felt like it was something she had to do. And I remember I used to think about what if she was, right? And I'd go through all the things and I'm like, what if she was a crackhead? And I'm
Mm.
like, you know what? I'd love her as a crackhead. I'd love her as a crackhead. And it, because I thought, surely it was something like that, right?
Yeah.
But then when I was pregnant at 15, I learned
Mhm.
a lot about what she might have went through.
Wow.
It was the real reason I found her and got in touch with her was because I was like, if she thinks about me half as much as I think about my daughter, I need
Oh.
to go tell her I'm good and thank you and all of that.
So what was that like?
To find her?
Yeah, well, when you had your daughter and how you kind of
Well, I mean, when I had my daughter, they allowed me to have an open adoption or a closed. And since mine was closed, I didn't know anything else. and it worked out. You know, I was still in adoptionist great world, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought, let's do it the same way. That's healthy. It's what I know. I don't want to confuse her. Did
Mm,
I want to be included? 100% I did. She said, well,
mm,
you're welcome to send letters. You can send letters and we can go back and forth with letters, which we sent, I'm going to guess 5 or 6 years or 5 and 10 years or something like that. But
mm,
I would remember like when she'd be going to kindergarten and I'd watch the kindergarten kids go to kindergarten. You know, I remember like always associating, hi, little girl, what's your name? Oh, how old are you?
mm.
And then I would compare, oh, she's a year younger, she's a year older. Like she was involved at every moment, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then it was driving down the road again where I get my best ahas, you know. I was like, oh my gosh, if my birth mom were to think about me as much as I think about her, I need to go find her and tell her, yeah, I'm okay and thank you.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing about adoption.
Mm.
Most of the time, this is a very general rule. This is only my experience.
Okay.
As the kid who did have great parents, I wasn't missing anything.
Mm.
Some curiosity,
Hmm.
like, wonder what she looks like.
Yeah.
You know, I wonder if she's this or that. But
Yeah.
nothing that was going to show stop me for anything. I wasn't, it wasn't going to stop
A
me
mission.
not knowing. Right.
A mission.
I'm on a mission. But as the mother who places her child for adoption, you have this
Mm.
umbilical cord that goes off to nothingness. And
Wow.
you have a huge part of you
Yeah.
that's missing undeniably forever. You know,
Wow.
like until she's not missing, right? Or
Yeah.
he's not missing her. And so that was my experience.
Ooh.
So being on the other side of that and thinking not from just the birth mother perspective, but from or not just from the kid perspective, but now from the birth mother perspective, I
Yeah.
was like, I gotta go find her. I've never looked at it from this way, you know?
Wow.
And thank goodness I did because my journey would have been different. Like I
Yeah.
would have expected probably more out of our relationship. I would
Yeah.
have wondered why she doesn't call every day. I
Yeah.
would have not understood why we had to talk through text for a decade before we met. Like I wouldn't have understood any of that. But
Mm.
because I am an adoptee as well, and I've
Yeah.
met my birth mom, I too totally got it.
Yeah.
Totally understood. So it was just thank goodness. I have been I have had a lot of traumas in my life and I have been so blessed for them to work out so beautifully,
Wow.
you know? Yeah,
Because now you have a relationship with your
all
daughter
of them. Yeah.
and your daughter.
Yes. That's right.
Wow.
Now we are in I have grandbabies and I have a half sister that's in Knoxville and a little, when they get to the kids, like my half sister's son was born after we met. So then now he's just a nephew. He's not
Yeah.
a bio nephew. He's a
Yeah.
nephew, you know.
Right.
But
Right.
everybody that was here before the kid, before their bio mom, bio sis, bio mom's husband, like what, all that stuff is bio. But everybody born later, they're
They're
just
part of the fam.
yeah, it's just part of it. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, earlier when you were showing me pictures of your daughter, it's like I could just see the joy on your face, like the
Yeah.
pride on your face of like the love that you feel for her.
Well, imagine meeting your daughter at 22 or 25
Mm.
and she was perfect in your eyes and you had zero history of no fight, of no misunderstanding, of no trauma, no drama, nothing she's ever did you had to worry about. And you're just like, you're meeting this perfect angel.
Yeah,
It's like it's a gift.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's taught me how to look at my son. Because when I look at my son, I think, oh, I'm not doing this enough. I'm not doing that enough. I'm not. And it's all the lacks. But if
yeah,
I can grab into that, she's a perfect being and
yeah,
steal that away and say, he's a perfect being.
Yeah.
It's really helped me amplify how I treat my son or how I
Mm-hmm.
think about my mother skills. How about that?
Right.
Meeting her in person. I said, I'm done with calling when she now has three kids. I remember leaving and saying, I'm gonna do everything I can to never say I'm a bad mom to myself again. Because I
Mm.
never wanted her to say that. I never
Oh.
wanted her to feel that way. And I had been eat up with I'm a terrible mom. Like
Mhm.
eat up with it. It was eat up, ate up, whatever. It
Yeah.
was probably the biggest wedge between my son and I is that I could not stop thinking how
Yeah.
I don't do this enough or that enough. I'm not this, I'm not that. And it was all I could focus on as a
Mm.
mother. It was very hard the first 10 years, and he's 10, by the way.
First 10 years.
It's been very hard the first 10 years.
Because of your guilt, it sounds,
Yeah,
your shame, your guilt,
yeah,
your,
yeah. Of who I'm not instead of who I am.
oof.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And
So,
you said, I never want her to feel that way.
right, right,
And so I don't want to keep doing that.
right. I gotta be the role model to not do that for
Mm.
her, for myself.
Yeah.
And she's rocking it. She's knocking in this motherhood thing out of the ballpark. And I read this thing years ago that was like a woman, so you, Dawn, represent about 2,000 generations of women.
Mm.
It took 2,000 women to get you here. If you believe that humans were created when they say it was, if you believe everything that exists in the way we've learned it through school, okay?
Yeah.
It took about 2,000 women to get you here in this time and space. You
Mm.
represent that. Well, if you're adopted, that's 4,000 women, right?
Mm.
And so I was telling her, and one day I did this whole, I'm going to digress here for a second and go backwards. One
Yeah.
day I was doing this thing that I was like thanking those 4,000 women. Like, wow, how special am I that it took these 4,000 women went ahead of me and set this and all this.
Yeah.
Well, I was telling her, I was like, you're changing the lineage because
Yeah.
I know that in my biological mother line, I know in my adoptive mother line that
Mm.
I tried to change. I think I'm the most aware, and
Mm.
maybe every generation is more aware. Maybe that's just normal. But
Yeah.
she's actually changing her relationships with her daughter and kids.
Yeah.
And it needed it. They were dead. Literally couldn't have kids and
Mm.
couldn't keep your kid and
Yeah.
those the way that the relationships of um mother child was just it was in such bad need of
Mm.
healing
Mm-hmm.
and she's doing the work. She's healing it. She's
Yep.
she's raising them differently. She shows up differently. She
Yeah.
puts herself first differently. She loves them so sweet. I mean, and then the house with three kids, it's like peace.
Yeah.
How's that happen? I'll never know. But it's like you're different. You're doing the work.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
says, well, if there's 4,000 over there, you have to think about my husband's side because they too have some stuff that needs to be cleaned up. There you go. So anyway, I do believe that there is, and I don't think it's all bad. It's just karma. It's just energetic karma kind of stuff that you're cleaning up.
Yeah.
It's cleaning up.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of like in the trauma like mindset, you can see like family systems just pass the trauma down to the next
Absolutely.
person, next generation until it bumps into one of us and we're like, oh hell no. I'm gonna feel this
Yeah,
shit. We can heal this shit and not pass it to my girls, you know? And it
absolutely.
because yeah, and I do think that there is kind of an awakening of like we don't want to keep doing the same shit. We
Yeah.
want to pass on the pain. We want to pass on the healing.
And I thought I was ready and I thought I was, quote, healed before I had mine. I'd
Mm.
already been in this kind of work for 15 years. You know, I took everything positive. I had cleared everything it was. But then when the kid comes along, I'm like, I'm a fucked up mess. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
They
thanks
have
for
a
showing.
way.
They have a way. I've never seen behaviors come out of me in my entire life that come
Mhm.
out of me with a child,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, there's a lot of healing here to do. And
Yeah.
I had to get out of the shame. Like I said, I spent a lot of that time in shame of
Right.
my behaviors, and I'd never even experienced shame. Like I was always not, you know, toxic
Everything's
positivity.
positive.
Oh, shame. Let's just keep going. Right, 100%. 100%. Absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. We were deemed some of the first people to say awesome. It was when I
Yeah.
was 22, so 25 years ago, you'd walk in our office and we were allowed to say awesome, awesome. And then
Yeah.
people's testimonials about our business would be like, you walk in this place and people are saying awesome. It was like it was the beginning of that. And we wouldn't let people talk anything but positive in our environments.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
pretty deeply rooted. But that kid came along and was like, it's not so awesome, is it?
They have a way of showing us ourselves in a way that we wouldn't probably be able to see
That
before.
is very, very true. That is
You know what
very
a good
true.
mom does? She pays attention, right?
Yes.
And actually can face that versus run from it.
Yeah. I say I apologize a lot. And then and I know I've heard don't ever apologize. I've heard I don't know. I just do what's in my heart.
Well,
But
we're
I have
human, so
do it. Do
we're
what?
human, so we're
We're
gonna need
human.
an
Yeah.
apology. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I'm sorry about that. I'm not sorry about that, but I am sorry about this. But I did have to, it dawned on me, one of the things that was my biggest pet peeves about my mom was she
Mm.
kept saying these things. She'd always say that she regretted things and that she felt like a terrible mom. And I'm like, every time I hear you say you feel like a terrible mom, it makes me feel like I'm not good enough.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
how do you look at me and say you're a terrible mom? Well, there's something wrong then with me,
Yeah.
And I realized I was doing the same thing. And I
Mm.
was like, when I realized I was doing the exact same thing that I was complaining, I was like, I can't do it anymore. I'm not going to say that out loud anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want him to think that he represents me thinking I did bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
It took me another 10 years to realize that one too.
But that's how you learn, you know?
It
I
is.
mean, you're choosing to learn and grow and change and be different
Yeah,
and not just stay the same in that. And that's living, right? That's actually growing and living this thing instead of just doing what everybody else has always done.
100%. Yeah. And I do love life.
Hmm.
hmm I
Oh,
love
see?
life. I love humans. I love community and unity. And I love where we're going. I love where we are because
Mhm.
I feel like we're, and this is not toxic positivity talking here. Because I feel like we're in a really, really unique place in this earth world,
Yeah.
that a
Yeah.
lot of people for generations and generations have never seen ever,
Hmm.
who may never understand. Who's to say how this will, all
Yeah.
unfold? And I'm very much aware of the dark side and the
Mm.
scary side.
Yeah.
Um, I'm extremely aware
Yeah.
of of as much positive I see that can come out of the horrific stuff that's happening. I
Yeah.
see just as much dark that's happening. I do. I really do.
Yeah.
And in COVID, I was accused of not seeing it because of something I said that was a positive
Mm.
perspective, and I don't even remember what it was. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I had really, really dark visions and understanding during COVID. I knew that I felt like at any moment I could have suited people walk into my house and
Mhm.
do terrible things to me in front of my son. And
Mm.
I would live them out down all the way to what I would say to my son, how I'd want to be, what I would do, all that stuff. And then
Mhm.
I would stop, and then I would, when that was all played out in my head for a second, I would recoup. And then I was
Mm.
like, this is where we're going. And I would get focused on that again. So it
Yeah.
wasn't that I wasn't seeing it or being aware of it. And that's how I am today. But this
Yeah.
time, I'm not going to let people take me down for it. Like,
Yeah.
this time I'm going to say, no, I think I'm here for this world, for these kinds of times to be the vision that I know what's coming. Like it's, there is light at the end of the tunnel, not for everyone, but
Yeah.
for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And there is an end of the tunnel for everyone.
Yeah. Well, and I think what I'm hearing you say is focus on the light,
Yeah.
right? Like the light is what is going to expose the darkness. Like the light is what's going to actually overcome it.
Yes. I think that's why we go through when we feel like we've expanded and we've healed something and
Mhm.
we're living in our bigness and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden something else comes up. I
Yeah.
think that the bright light and that light does shine a light on that dark stuff, you
Absolutely.
know?
Yeah.
Um, that vision one we talked about, that's a recent dark thing that needed a light shined on me about
Yeah.
making sure no matter what my vision was and holding true to my vision that I still put myself first.
Right. And you know, it's interesting when people have an issue with our positivity or our light or whatever. I mean, they're not even taking into consideration the shit that you've been through.
Right.
It's not like you're speaking from a place of not knowing it, not experiencing it. It's a choice to see the light.
And with this whole toxic positivity thing, I do get it. But just now when you were saying that, I saw that who wants to be someone's rain on their parade so bad that you call them toxic positive? Like, really? Really? You really want to go rain on that girl's parade right now? If just because you think it's toxic positivity? She's
Yeah,
she's doing something that serves her in this moment. Why do
yeah.
you got to be the rain on that parade? I don't understand. Like, does that make you feel better? I don't understand. Sorry.
No, and you know what? It oftentimes goes back to not knowing what people have been through,
Yeah, right. Like you just said. Yep, yep,
not
yep.
knowing people's story, right?
Mhm.
Because behind every face, there's a story to be
Yes,
told, right? And I think that changes everything.
yes,
We could not be so quick to just jump on judging someone or assuming something is true versus saying, I bet that makes sense in their story.
yes. You have to assume it does.
Oh, yeah. And that perspective makes sense. And I think we need all the perspectives,
Hmm. Oh,
not
yeah.
just, we can't just shove it all into one and think that we found the right one, you
I mean,
know?
what do people do with this much pressure that the world is under right now that's never understood coping skills or had coping skills or never had ever in their life anything role modeled to them that was healthy, but they feel all this pressure,
Mm.
their money pressure, what do they do? A lot of them turn to things that we don't understand, you
Exactly.
know?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And like, how do we start loving each other?
Right.
How do we start lifting each other up? How do we start
Radical empathy. Right.
seeing each other as humans that matter? Right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. 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 Radical empathy.
right. Absolutely. So I think that you make absolute sense in your story. Um,
Thank you.
and so tell me kind of how that's led you to kind of where you are today. Like what's Brooke's
Where am I today?
day? Yeah.
Well, the Reader's Digest is in my 20s when I was with that guy. It wasn't a multi-level marketing company. And that kind of set me off at a young age to be an entrepreneur. I didn't believe in this system. You're working your way up. I do believe for people, there are people who that works well for.
Hmm.
And I do believe there are people who that gives them safety and security and happiness. I'm not saying that people should just reject the system, but
Yeah.
I'm saying that I saw that I didn't believe in it at a very young age.
Yeah.
I was 22 when I saw the news type out words that I was saying in an undercover camera that were not correct. Like
Oh,
I saw what they said I said was a total difference, and they muffled my voice. and then they
Oh.
put on one. And so I saw at a very young age, you cannot trust news sources. You cannot trust. So I never have. And
Okay.
I've been called living in your bubble. I've been called not, I've been called a lot of things. You know what? Whatever. I know you can't trust them, and you
Right.
couldn't for 25 years ago. And
Yeah.
so those experiences led me into, redesigning kitchens at fully commission and helping people, and then, and really wanting to be an entrepreneur and really trying to get this farm built.
Mm.
And from building the farm, I'm trying to think of how to make this short, and already it's going longer. But what
It's okay.
I guess when I every time I would start to really anchor into my goal and my vision, something would happen, of course. Like
Mm.
my friend would get sick, and then I started helping her 70 hours a week. And then this was just the business was something we talked about.
Mm.
And then I would be ready to go again. And then somebody else got sick, and I had to take care of them. And,
Mm.
just one thing after another that I was always allowing to get into the way of my vision and
Yeah.
helping other people with their vision.
Yeah.
And but it quit. It quit because I was with a woman who was a dear, dear, dear friend, and she helped me quit. She helped me say, "Don't ever let me be in the way. Don't,
Mm.
I want to be this with you." And so I had promised her that if I wasn't the one helping her, then I would manage the team for the people who were helping her. And
Mm.
she, because we knew her trajectory, and she was my BFF girl. She was my soul. And
Oh,
so
wow.
I did that, and I started building my business, and it was taking off in coaching, and I was on the West Coast with a coach, and things were taking off. And then COVID hit. And when
Mm.
COVID hit, I had already been doing Zoom. I didn't have anybody local. I had already been doing coaching I'd been doing coaching way before then, like
Mm.
20, I started coaching in like 2013 with a lady that was in Canada, and
Mhm.
she would give me clients, and it was all over Zoom. And so
Okay.
I'd already been doing that,
Mhm.
and trying to raise a kid, do some coaching, trying to make some money, book my vision. I was doing all the things.
Yeah.
And then when COVID hit, everybody needed they needed to know how to move to Zoom. And everybody was
Mm.
scared of Zoom. They were scared of COVID. They were afraid to lose clients. They were afraid that their energy, all the energy workers and healers were all about, well, Zoom's not going, they're not going to be able to fill this. And I'm like, yeah, you can. And I
Yeah.
sat from one client into the next. I remember the very first person, my very first COVID person was somebody who called me and said, I got your name from this lady. I'm in Atlanta, and I have 500 people showing up in person. They just canceled us. I got 22 speakers of doctors and healers that are coming on, and I don't even know what to do. And we had, this was Wednesday, and it was Saturday. Okay.
Oh.
And this was not when people knew how to do Zoom yet, right?
Yes.
Not, and so I spent the next 2 days taking each person and training them and saying, doctors, they
Yeah.
can understand you in Zoom. You
Yeah.
can do this. They
Yeah.
will see your energy. And I just took each one and painted
Yeah.
the picture and then trained them with it and then did the registration, and it took off. It took
Mhm.
off. And
Yeah.
in that time when everybody needed this reassurance, this vision, I could
Mhm.
show you. I had one computer with this group going, and it was like a kind of a dark, scary energy, and then a
Mhm.
group over here with the doulas, and it was bright and light, and you could see energies in computers, and I was customer support for because no one knew how to do. I was customer support, I was management, I was training, I was all the things, and it led me to meet a whole lot of people, a
Mhm.
lot of people in the entrepreneur world.
Yeah.
And some of those people, like that woman in the first call, she says, you know, um, you don't let go of good people. And she's always there, always trying to think of a way to include me on something, And she's wonderful. And I've built a lot of good friends. And um so that really kicked it off. But then I got really busy. I
Mhm.
got a little too busy. Too busy is a thing because I do care, and I did have the resources. I naturally know where the resources are, and I
Yeah.
love to network. And so by 2023, 3, I was tired. And I
Mm,
was spent and I wasn't having deep conversations anymore. I was
mhm.
just overworked and I didn't like who I was becoming. I wouldn't network anymore. I'd show up, run the thing, but I didn't want to go in, I didn't want to meet anybody, because it's like my bandwidth it was maxed.
Oh, yeah.
And since then, I have been trying to figure out a better way to help and to be a resource and to get paid and not work 14 hours a day. And
Right.
I had this pattern, this pattern of of cleaning it up and charging more and doing this and then get scared or wanting to help someone. And my value was very much wrapped into how I helped people. And I had
Mhm.
to clean a lot of that up and still cleaning that up. I'm in my latest phase of this. This
Yeah.
space is uncomfortable.
Right.
I could be helping someone, but Brooke, you need to be helping yourself,
How about
right?
Brooke? How about if we help
This
Brooke
is
right now?
Brooke, right? So I begged for it. I said it had to happen, and then it gets scary. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of like sitting in that space now.
Okay.
And I do have um a lot of vision. Really do value and honor where we are right
Mm-hmm.
now as a collective, because I think we're going to get most people that are alive today are going to get to see some really big changes that are
Mm-hmm.
coming and in a really good way.
Yeah.
It might be 10 years from now, but what is 10 years when you've seen decades pass, right?
Right. Right.
And and it's okay. And I feel like people like you, Dawn, who are here on the ground, bootstraps, helping
Mhm.
people with mental stuff, or like who are still trying to unpack some stuff,
Yeah.
and what that looks like on every level, are going to be so busy
Mhm.
because more and more things are going to open up and get destroyed and be exposed, and the things we know are not going to look normal. And often our systems have made us feel safe. And
Mhm.
while I do understand how ugly that can really be, I
Mhm.
really also understand how freedom is right on the other side of it. And
Yeah.
so I really just want to anchor in on that. I put space in my calendar to say, let me be the best guide to this, like I was in COVID. Let me show you how you can move online. Let me show
Mhm.
half those people now, their businesses are tenfold because they went international.
Yeah.
And let me show you how to embrace this
Mhm.
without letting the people who tell me I'm crazy or I'm not looking at all the sides or how dare you say that
Yeah.
dampen be the rain on my parade.
Mhm.
Without letting, I can hear you, I can see you, I can understand you, but please do not I'm not going to allow you to slow me down.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna do it anyways.
Yeah, here I go. You want
Yeah.
to join? And now I realize why, here I was worrying about upsetting, like, what if I say that my dad's upset? Or what if I say that and I mess up two people? I'm gonna have to have millions hate me. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
millions could hate me. Because if there are 20 million people watching me, probably 5 million of them, maybe even 10, okay, are gonna not like me. And I have to be able to handle that.
Yeah.
And so that makes me look like, oh, well, I was worried about one person. What about millions of people? And just to really own it
Yeah.
and to say, you know what? You can hear this and it is not toxic to hear it and
And
do the work. Yeah.
to me, what's worse than that is not staying true to you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
To me, what's far worse is you pleasing everybody else and not pleasing yourself, not staying in alignment with who Brooke is.
So you're
And
talking about me personally.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. No, it's true. I speak on that and then I have to remember it for myself. Right.
yeah, yeah,
It's very true. I feel like that's what's happening is
yeah.
we're going to finally be in a place where we are in our truth, where we are going to be able to do what we need to do. We
Mhm.
can be anything we want to be, and we're going to have resources at our fingertips. And yes, it's going to be scary. And yes, it can also be really, really, really good.
Yeah,
And I feel like that vision that I've had since I was 22 years old of everyone stepping into their passion and the world working,
yeah,
everyone being able to embrace what they love at being authentic,
yeah.
I believe it's really going to happen.
Oh,
you know.
100%. I'm like, it's so in agreement with that. And I find that that's the work that I do too. Like when women are healing, that's the very foundational part of it. But then you're stepping into your purpose. You're stepping into your passion. You're stepping into your gifts and what makes you come alive. And when everybody does that, that's when shit happens, right?
Isn't it Mary Marcy or whatever her name is, that says the world doesn't need more people to, I don't remember the first part. I remember this part. The world needs more people to come alive. Right?
Absolutely.
And that's when you come alive, you are helping the world. That is what I'm trying to anchor in on right now as I have my schedule cleaned up.
Yeah.
I'm just have to remember when I'm that uncomfortable and when I'm that like scared, like, oh my gosh, what does this mean for my finances?
Mhm.
Am I still loved with no one, not everybody needing me all day long? All these things. When
Yeah,
I'm still in that uncomfortable, I think, yeah, because my intuitive gifts that are going to help me come alive are going to help the world come alive.
that's
And
right.
that's why I'm doing that. I already noticed without me thinking about it. I went
Mhm.
into Facebook and changed my banner. I didn't even notice I did that. That was not my thought. My good friend was like, "Girl, what is up with that banner? It is so cute." And I'm like,
What did I do?
I didn't even remember doing it. And it went from a really nice banner of my business to
Yeah.
all my friends all over the place, a collage of pictures. And I'm
Hmm.
like, "That's Brooke coming out. That's what's happening."
Brooke. There goes Brooke.
Yeah,
There
that's
she
Brooke.
is. Come on,
That's the
Brooke.
girl.
Come
That's
on,
that's
Brooke.
her right there. I need to update it too. It'll be a bunch of Zoom pictures. I have one with a bunch of Zoom pictures.
Yeah. And what's cool, like, and I think the wise women thing, wise women collective, the group really spoke this to me too, is like it's about what does Holly say? Collaboration over
For
competition.
competition. Yep.
And so it's like if all of us can celebrate each other, right? And then we don't have like this race that we're the only one can be the winner, but like we have this garden where everybody matters. We need
Yes.
all of you in your shine, you know?
In 2021, I did a speaking session on collaboration, and it was about the stats of entrepreneurs. And I don't
Mhm.
have them right now, but it was like how many entrepreneurs in 1970 versus 2000 versus 2015 versus 2020, right?
Mhm.
And I'm like, whatever you do, there's already hundreds of people doing it.
Yeah.
In some cases, millions of people doing it. Think of a realtor, right?
Yeah.
And now it's not going to be about what you do. It's
Mhm.
going to be about how you show up doing it and
Yeah.
how you bring people together under that same thing.
Mm.
It's not always, I'm actually going a little bit away from collaboration to do something on my own for the first time in years
Yeah.
because I was being called to do something on my own because I'm always collaborating.
Oh yeah.
But it's true. It's like what you said it's time for that. For my neighbors. I
Mm.
have Biden or Kamala signs on one side and Trump signs on the other. And it will not matter if we can't even get gas to go 20 miles tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like it will not matter. So how do we don't put our egos to the side a little bit and come together without losing ourselves?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. The goal is not to lose one to get the other. It's for both
right.
people to come alive and to matter
Yes.
and to bring their strengths to the table where we're better and stronger together.
We'll be getting those competition over collaboration over competition
Collaboration.
shirts. Yeah, we'll be
Yeah.
getting those for the neighborhood, passing around to everybody's houses.
How do we collaborate? Here, how do we
Yeah,
collaborate?
right.
How about if we, oh man. Well, Brooke, so many of the women that listen to this podcast, you know, find themselves, and for many of them, they're stepping out of these toxic relationships or these toxic systems that they've depended on for so long, and they are scared about being alone. Or for many of them, they don't have careers or they don't really have a sense of their own thing that helps them be sustained. Like, just in thinking about that, I know that fits so many of the women that come to this podcast. So what would you say to them? Like what would you
Mm.
wish that you could say to those people that are feeling that kind of helpless, hopeless?
So I do have a real close friend that fits exactly what you just described. And I would say there does have to be somewhat of a risk
Mm,
taking, and the
hmm.
risk is the not knowing. It's
Yeah.
not necessary, and I know it's hard when you know how hard it is when you're like, but I'm talking like, how do I have no income? How do
Yeah.
I find a home that I can afford?
It's
Like the
real.
really hard grounded questions.
Right.
And I would say take the backdoor approach. And what
Mm,
I mean by that is start working on what if you could? What if
yeah.
you could? You know what? I know right now it feels like that I can never leave this job or I
Mm,
can never leave this person.
mhm.
But, and what would it look like if I could? And don't go into the details. Don't
Yeah.
go into the hard stuff about it. Start retraining your brain about what if I could?
Mm,
What would I want out of that? What, not this job or that job, the stuff you don't really know that seems hard, the
yeah.
fun stuff, right? Like, oh, I would be naked all over my house because there'd be no one walking in every day. You know,
Yeah.
the fun
Yeah.
stuff. And just noticing when you put that limitation in your words, like I could never say I
Mm,
could never up until now. And
mm,
maybe one day I can.
yeah.
And just take that slight backdoor approach and
Yeah.
it will go fast because
Mm,
you can't tell your brain to believe it out of nowhere. Give
yeah.
your something to believe, and you can believe up until now it has been hard, but maybe one day it won't. You can
Right.
believe it. There probably is something out for me and it will show itself. So just really take a backdoor approach, but be aware and do it and say it and
Yeah.
and take that little thing farther and farther every time when you feel real settled, you'll watch, it'll come natural and then do it. And then do
Hmm.
it. Do the work. It's very we don't ever not get rewarded for the kind of
Mm,
risks that we do take. And often they come in disguise in ways we'll never understand. So that's what
yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. What are there any resources or anything you would pass along to them that could be helpful in their
Well, definitely your podcast. That's who I give a lot of people resources for. I give
Okay.
your podcast to a lot of people. Your podcast and follow you and there's so many to find one that you can relate to.
Mm,
Find so we need two lines of communication to upraise our to help us when we're thinking. When
mm,
one line can be somebody you're talking to, any line can be someone you're talking to. It could be a podcast. It could be
mm,
a church. It's a line of communicate. You have to be communicating. So
mm,
when we're thinking, all energy is going inward. But when
mm,
we're expressing and communicating, it's you're pushing back to the world. You're
mhm,
not letting it you're not letting it sink in on you. So find two lines of communication.
mm,
Find Dawn, communicate with Dawn. Find a community,
mm,
communicate inside the community. Find a
mm.
podcast so you have that one is about listening and coming in. But if it's at a higher vibration, if it's the news, that doesn't work. That's not what I'm talking about. You can listen to the news, but find one that's a higher vibration that
Yeah.
with people who are doing and feeling like you want to feel and just listen to it.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of resources I would look for.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Brooke, you're amazing. I just wanted everyone to get to know you just a little bit better and know who you are because you've been such a blessing to me. Just knowing you, just getting to
Oh,
experience life with you and dream together for Embrace Your Brave. And you have made me brave.
oh, well, I'm glad. Thank you. I really, really appreciate that. And not just reflecting the compliment, but I want to say that it's what I saw in you the first time I met you. I tell everyone that you have this. you've been through so much and you understand so much and you've been able to keep the purity in your eyes. And a lot of people, I don't, that is a rare thing. To,
Hmm.
like most people have hardness because they've been through it, right? You still have this soft purity, and then you have this mama bear, rawr, and so you feel very safe and like a leader and all of that, and as someone I could trust. So, yeah, been a pleasure to develop and unfold the all that you're doing together, and I've loved it.
Oh, well, thank you for saying that, Brooke. You are such a vital part of it,
No, thank you.
as I don't think I would be here right now if it were not for you. So thank you.
Yes, thank you.
But thank you guys for being with us today. Just remember, you matter. Your story matters. Your voice matters. Your dreams matter. And you're not that girl anymore. Hey, friend, just a quick note. I am a licensed therapist, but this podcast isn't therapy. It's not meant to diagnose or treat anything. It's here to offer you support, encouragement, and real conversation. If you're struggling, please reach out to a trusted professional. You are not alone, and you are so worthy of healing. Even if your voice shakes, keep using it. Your healing matters. If you're ready to go deeper, you can book a session by clicking the link in the show notes or visiting our website, embraceyourbrave.org, to learn more about our therapy and trauma-informed coaching options. Let's explore how we can walk this journey together. You are not alone. Embrace your brave, sis. You're not that girl anymore.